Good morning to all today. I am Vareni Singh and I today stand here firmly opposing the motion that school education should be free and compulsory for all students across the globe. Now ladies and gentlemen, what today I've heard from side proposition is that they've came up here and they talked about the benefits of education. Well, members of the proposition, we today as opposition are not against education. We in our no way saying that education should not be provided to all, and we are not definitely discriminating one education on the basis of caste, creed, race or religion. Instead, what we are talking about is that is it right to provide free and compulsory education to each and everyone? Now ladies and gentlemen, I would first like to dissect the topic into two parts. This house believes that schools should provide free and compulsory education. Perfect, we agree with it. But when it comes to all the children across the globe, this is where it starts going wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of providing free and compulsory education, we talk of providing it to those who actually deserve it, who actually want it and who know they can manage it. And they cannot afford education. Now if my father can actually afford to pay the fees of the school, why should I be given free education? Ladies and gentlemen, the simple reason here is that because my father can afford it, so he should pay the fees. But if a farmer cannot afford his child's education, that should not be the hindrance in his child not getting education. We today are saying that yes, children do deserve education and each and every child does deserve education. But that does not mean that each and every child gets free and compulsory education. Now members of the house, when we talk of giving compulsory education, we talk of putting a compulsion on each and everyone to study. Now who are we to impose or force something upon children? Who are we to decide what children are going to do? We are simply no one, and this is why the second part of the topic today stands fail. Yes ma'am.
When you provide more facilities for a student to learn what he is interested in,
yes,
that's not compulsion, right?
Right. So ma'am, when we talk of not being a compulsion, that is providing facilities. That does not mean that we actually force each and everyone to do something. Maybe a child has an inclination towards something else, and we know the condition of primary free schools, they cannot provide each and every facilities. So coming to the practical life, we need to live in a realistic world and not in an ideal world. So 1 minute please. So when we come to the ideal world, we need to understand, when we come to the real world, we need to understand that each and every primary school at present that provide free education cannot provide each and every facilities to the best. Right? So your question now.
There may be someone who is interested in some other field, but if he is unable to be successful in that field because chances are limited, right? So at least he has a backup while studying in school. That's why we are saying that education should be compulsory.
Thank you, sir. So what today's side of proposition is saying is that education should be compulsory and it should be free. What I am saying is that education should be allowed, that a child should be allowed to decide whether he wants that education or not. You cannot decide whether the child wants a backup. This is a world of competition, sir. In each and every field you will have a competition. If a child cannot succeed in one field, that does not mean it's a definite that he will succeed in the other field. You live in a world of competition where there is a lot of competition. And just by providing compulsory education to all, you are saying that you will guarantee a future. That's not true. Now coming to my next point of argument, ladies and gentlemen, what happens when we start providing free and compulsory education to all? Now we are very clear of the fact that the castes like Jat and Patel, they were given rights, they were given reservation for primary education. So they got educated, as today's side proposition wants. They got educated. But what we see here is that what this gets us is quantity education, but not quality education. So as a result, when the time comes for them to go into higher colleges for higher studies, they cannot manage to crack the best of the colleges. So what is happening is now the Jat and Patels are very aptly again coming up and saying, now we again want reservations in the colleges as well. So what is happening is that a quantity keeps on increasing, but a quality keeps on decreasing. Now as very aptly spoken by my lead speaker, ladies and gentlemen, that she said it's better to have 10 good apples rather than having 1,000 bad apples. So ladies and gentlemen, today we as side opposition basically want quality education for all and not quantity education for all. And when we come about talking about free and compulsory education for all, not only does it make it difficult for the government to provide quality education to all, but it also imposes an economic burden on the government which the government will have to bear. And at the end of the day, the economic burden of the government becomes the economic burden of the citizens of the country. So, to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would simply like to say, education is a privilege, and it should be given to all who want it and who deserve it. And if they cannot afford that education, they should be given free and compulsory education, but that in no way means that it should be given to all who do not even want it, and do not even care for it, and do not even value it. With this, I'm very, very proud to propose. Thank you.